Welcome to Designing Purpose, your guide to finding and pursuing the career you were meant for, with me, life and career coach Brooke Cretz. Want to know the scariest part about leaving your job? The unknowing of what's next. But what if it were possible to leave the job you hate and pursue something that feeds your soul while still meeting your financial goals? On Designing Purpose, I will guide you step by step to leave jobs that no longer serve you and connect to the career and life you were meant for. Join in for powerful stories, examples, and guidance to go from feeling stuck in the unknowing to confidently transitioning to your next career. The Designing Purpose show starts now. So, you guys, we have reached the end of the journey. Think about how far we have come since the very beginning of this series, from talking about how we recognize the signs of purpose disconnection, all the way to how to leave your job, how to understand what you're actually meant to do, and how to make it all happen your way. In just 12 episodes, we've been able to cover most of the major milestones and lessons you will encounter on this journey, what to expect, and how you can confidently move through them. We've been able to clarify and demystify so many of the unknowns that keep us paralyzed at the beginning of our journey. And we've given our brains permission to move forward and gain confidence by answering small questions with each episode. And as with most journeys in life, while this particular one comes to an end, another incredibly rich, meaningful, and fulfilling journey is just beginning as you live, work, and impact others in alignment with your purpose, the truest expression of your being. Sometimes when we reach this point, it's easy to think, well, this is just what I'll be doing for the rest of my life. I've discovered my purpose and now I'm living in it. However, just as you will evolve and grow throughout your life, so too will the ways in which you embody and express your purpose evolve. And that's a good thing. We are not stagnant beings, nor are we living in a vacuum, which means that as we move through life, we will learn, adapt, and change, while also welcoming new phases of life circumstances. And to try to resist this change and cling to what we know and are already doing will only result in greater frustration. So you might be thinking, does my purpose change then? Are we going to have to revisit this every few years for the rest of my life? And the answer is yes and no. The truth is that your core purpose has been and will always remain the same, regardless of where you are in life and which circumstances are brought your way. Remember, this is the truest expression of who you are, what you were brought into this world to do. So this will remain foundational and guiding throughout your entire life. However, how you offer your gifts and express your purpose may and most likely will shift over time. Let's look at this in practice. Remember back to episode 7 when Leah aligned on her core purpose based on her passions, strengths, energy drivers, and values? Leah realized that her core purpose was storytelling by communicating ideas in creative and imaginative ways to help people feel and experience with the help of her people. And through her own self-awareness and understanding, she realized her core purpose was to be a screenwriter. However, this does not mean Leah had to move to Hollywood and write scripts every day for the rest of her life in order to fulfill her purpose. In fact, at various points in time, she might have still lived within her purpose by leading talks and discussions on storytelling for audiences, writing short form and long form videos for courses which communicated certain ideas, collaborating with artists on conceptual exhibits, using writing to communicate the ideas of their installations, or developing creative and innovative communication concepts for various activism campaigns. So if all these things are still embodiments of her purpose, how do we know which ones to employ at which moments in our lives? In today's episode, we will answer this question by using another illustrative example of a personal finance consultant who we'll call Christine, as we examine her evolving seasons and priorities, evolving learnings, and evolving client or end user needs. And our final question to address by the end of the episode is, am I ready to step into my purpose, mindful of how it will change and evolve with me over time? Let's get started with Christine's example. Christine began her career in banking and worked for a number of large banks and local branches before she began noticing a lot of common challenges customers were encountering and how lacking personal finance knowledge was. She also began to see bank policies which made it more challenging for customers to take control of their personal finance decisions, but was unable to push back on these in any meaningful way. When she evaluated what her true purpose was, she decided the best way to do what she felt called to, and the way she felt called to do so, was to open a personal finance consulting practice. At this point, Christine is 28 and dating someone, but not yet married. She has a fair amount saved. She is in personal finance after all. But she wants to grow her savings as much as possible before she hits 35. So she begins taking on a robust portfolio of clients in the first couple of years of her business, working with them each individually to plan and achieve their personal finance needs. At 30, she marries her boyfriend, and with their combined income, she finds she can reduce the number of individual clients she sees and instead offer more group sessions and workshops. She also decides to restructure her business so she is off for all of June and December and has an opportunity to travel with her husband. 2 years later, she gets pregnant with their first baby, and they discover there are complications which make it difficult for her to move and meet clients. These mobility challenges cause her to hire a temporary consultant to help cover client needs in the meantime. But she still has the drive to support people to lead financially liberated lives. She decides to use this time to develop an online personal finance course targeted for young couples who are merging their finances and planning for the long term. She makes short videos and some worksheets and puts them on Teachable. Once her daughter is born, she realizes that while she feels better, she doesn't want to be away from her all day working and considers her options. Knowing she has a healthy amount saved, she decides to invest in marketing for her online course and develop some more downloadable resources. Slowly, sales begin to come in, and she starts to outpace her previous income while having more time to spend at home with her daughter. 5 years of slowly adding and promoting more digital products later, Christine's daughter is going to school for the first time, and she finds she misses the face-to-face interactions with clients. She is also craving more collaborative opportunities with other professionals supporting well-rounded lives like personal trainers, life coaches, and therapists. She starts inviting them to co-host workshops with her and receives lots of positive feedback about the comprehensive and holistic approach the workshops take to life, finances, and health. Together, Christine and her other collaborators form the Life Planning Collective and begin collaborating on workshops, courses, and resources for people to live healthier, more financially confident lives. Your turn. Now that we've moved through a few seasons of Christine's life, single, newly married, pregnant, new mom, and school-aged mom, we see that not only did each set of circumstances bring changes for her personally, they also brought new priorities where she focused her attention. As a single new entrepreneur, her priorities were maximize savings and individual clients. As a newly married woman with a joint income, her priorities were spending time with her husband and traveling during a period of their lives where they were financially comfortable and didn't have responsibilities like kids yet. When she was managing a complicated pregnancy that left her with mobility issues, her priorities became rest and health for her and her baby. As a new mom, her priorities become spending lots of time with her daughter. And once her daughter went to school, her priorities became more time in person with people and collaborating to amplify her efforts. And thus, with each of these shifting priorities, the ways in which she embodied her purpose, also called her value proposition, changed and evolved as well. Christine was living in her purpose in every single phase, but the ways in which she expressed it changed in accordance to the season of her life and her priorities. Regardless of your own circumstances and whether you choose to do things like get married or have children, you will, of course, move through your own phases of life along with new priorities. And this is the first thing that will dictate how your purpose expression then changes and evolves. Think of where you are right now. What priorities do you want to make space for? What is important to you where you are right now? How might this change in the future? What might you want to make space for then? What ways can the expression of your purpose change to ensure your priorities are met? Examining your evolving seasons and priorities is the first determining factor for how the expression of your purpose may shift. Let's look at the next determining factor, evolving learnings. Remember, Christine had already been working in finance for years before she opened her practice. And the more she came into contact with people she supported, the more she learned about them, the industry, and what options there were to support people. Think about the different models she was using: individual consultations, then group sessions, online courses, and collaborative support programs. When Christine first began working independently, all she really knew was independent consultations. This is how she had always worked with people when she was working in banks. She had always felt like personal finance was too person or family specific to be addressed in a small group setting. But the more she began interacting with them, the more she realized how many people were struggling with the same issues and also felt alone, like they were the only ones who experienced challenges with budgeting and saving. This gave her the idea to pilot group sessions, which turned out to be very successful and profitable. By the time she got pregnant and experienced complications which limited her mobility, Christine had built up a strong network of other personal finance consultants and had watched the ways in which they supported clients and ran their businesses. She had seen someone in her network undergo major surgery and hire a 6-month temporary replacement to see their clients while they were recovering. Knowing this was an option, she was able to make this decision for her own business when she became temporarily incapacitated to support her clients. She had also recently begun to receive more young married couples as clients and realized how scarce financial literacy or options were for this demographic. A lot didn't even look at their finances until they wanted to have children or buy a house, and sometimes were disappointed to find their savings weren't where they needed to be. That knowledge motivated her to develop the online course specifically for those in this population. Lastly, Christine learned through working with her clients that their needs and challenges typically extended beyond just financial planning. Oftentimes, they had issues setting goals for health and fitness, were unhappy with their jobs, or still had limiting beliefs about what they were capable of. This motivated her to seek out personal trainers, life coaches, and therapists to create the Life Planning Collective and offer more value to those who were feeling stuck. Now, Christine hadn't pre-planned the evolution of how she worked with people. In fact, she basically expected to just work with the same kinds of people in the same ways for the rest of her career. But she learned a lot as she moved along, which prompted her to shift how she offered things, who she targeted, and how to more effectively help clients achieve their goals. You too will learn so much as you begin living in your purpose, supporting your people, and understanding what they need and what their common challenges are. This will then inform how you work with them over time. Throughout every stage of your life, then, ask yourself, what am I learning right now? What are the ways in which I can evolve how I reach people and lead them towards their goals? The more you learn, the more your purpose expression will naturally evolve. And this leads us to the final determining factor of purpose evolution: evolving client or end user needs. When Christine first began operating and banking and personal finance back in 2013, the world was very different. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, as well as NFTs, were still in their relative infancy, and how we saved and managed money was very different. Suddenly, we had tons of money transfer apps like Venmo and TransferWise, as well as hundreds of tools and apps popping up to manage money. Additionally, income options were changing, and suddenly the gig economy and working as a 1099 contractor, if you're in the US, was becoming more common. Christine was receiving new requests and questions from clients about how to invest, budget, and save by leveraging these emerging modalities. Additionally, how they chose to learn and consume information was changing. This was another impetus for her to shift to an online model while she was pregnant and raising her daughter, as she saw more people turning to digital spaces for learning. She was able to leverage emerging platforms where people were already sharing online, like Reddit, Instagram, and YouTube, to promote her online course. Following the COVID-19 pandemic, while there was an initial reluctance to leave home, Christine noticed that her clients were craving that in-person but supportive community where they felt included and welcomed as everyone transitioned into a new way of life. Seeing these needs, she was able to create the Life Planning Collective and foster these spaces for human interaction and support. No matter what happens throughout your lifetime, our needs and how we interact with the world around us will invariably change. How people prefer to receive information, learn, connect, grow, and impact those around us will be continuously shifting. Christine paid attention to these evolving needs, and as a result, she was able to change how her purpose was expressed over time. Think about the needs of others you are seeing right now. What are people searching for? What options do they have available to them to discover this? Through each phase of your life, continue asking yourself, what are people searching for now? Is it the same? And how supportive are their options at this point? How can I leverage this as I express my own purpose and impact others? Evaluating your evolving seasons and priorities, learnings, and client or end user needs will guide you through the phases of your purpose expression evolution. The goals may remain constant, but the ways in which you reach and engage with people and how they meet these goals will maybe and most likely change. And that's a really exciting thing for everyone, because it's an opportunity to emerge in a brand new beginning of how you show up in the world, acting as the truest expression of who you are. Let's go back to the initial question from the episode. Am I ready to step into my purpose, mindful of how it will change and evolve with me over time? Answering this final question has brought you to the conclusion of one purpose journey and the beginning of an incredible purpose evolution journey. And as you enter this next journey, I want you to take with you what you've learned here in these 12 episodes, that you don't have to have all the answers from the beginning, that you can quiet the doubts you experience by answering one simple question at a time to move forward, that you are equipped with everything you need, and that you always have antidotes to the things which hold us back, that you have simple and powerful frameworks to get clear on what you need when making decisions, and that most importantly, you do not have to stay feeling stuck and alone, and that by living in your purpose, you will feel freer, fuller, and more connected to those around you than you ever believed possible. It has been an immense pleasure and a dream come true to guide you through the purpose journey here on Designing Purpose. I hope you have enjoyed the stories, characters, frameworks, and visual scenes as much as I enjoyed bringing them to life. Designing Purpose will continue in the future with different series, all focused on the same core objectives: to help you discover and pursue your purposeful career or business venture with the knowledge that there are always possibilities and options to make it happen. Thank you so much again for listening, for learning, for being brave, for walking with me throughout this journey. And I can't wait to see you again someday soon. Take care. You have been listening to Designing Purpose, your guide to finding and pursuing the career you were meant for. If you are curious to navigate the unknowns keeping you stuck in your job and confidently discover and pursue the career you were meant for, tune in every second and fourth Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on transformationtalkradio.com, where I give straightforward and practical guidance to facilitate your next career move. For more information, visit www.thepurposefulpractice.com.